What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. Hope you're all doing really well. I don't know why I was so psyched for that intro, but I'm psyched because this spec is actually pretty cool. And we're going to talk about Archon Shadow Priest today. Archon Shadow Priest. I think if you had asked most people about Archon Shadow Priest, it wouldn't have been on like their bingo card. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, I really want a tree that focuses on Halo and sends out a bunch of Halo. That's what I want to do as a Shadow Priest. Like, most people would not have thought that. I didn't. This thing has really surprised me, and it just kind of came in a left field. Obviously, Voidweaver is like the go-to tree for most Shadow Priests. Voidweaver tree works really well. We want to know if the Archon tree has any merit whatsoever, and let me tell you, it does. Okay, it absolutely does, and we're gonna dive into. I got some footage. It's gonna be really good. I just want to make a quick note. If you haven't come to check out the stream yet, twitch.tv/ZukoVibes, come check it out. We were having an absolute blast over there. We had like 40 or 50 people come over the last week, like every night in the last week. And I'm just picking random classes that I want to play. Chat gets to pick for me, and we play it on the beta. It's a lot of fun. Come check it out, okay? If you want to. Now, what is so good about Archon Shadow Priest that would make you want to play it? Well, first of all, Halo actually hits like a bus, okay? It does a lot of damage. And with this tree, it sends out Halo 3 extra times, essentially. So, well, I think it's 3 times in total, right? I don't feel like it goes out. I think it's 3 times in total. You cast Halo, and then it's going to go out 2 more times after that, okay? So 3 in total. It hits enemies on the way out, and it hits them on the way in. So it hits them 6 times in total, okay? The damage right now is that it does 130,000 damage. It does that to every enemy 6 times. 130, 130, 130, 130, 130, 130. Okay, so if you have 10 enemies, that's 1.3 million damage each time. 1.3, 2.6, 3.9, 4.3, 5, whatever. You see what I'm saying? You're quickly going to get up to like 6 million, 7 million damage on 10 enemies. So like the AoE implications of this spell are really big, and it's a 1-minute cooldown now instead of a 40-second cooldown. The biggest talent on this tree is not any of these other cool support ones. You get more stamina from Fortitude. You get more haste from Power Infusion. You can make Halo do more damage. You get a double fear, which is actually really good for CC. And then, of course, the Halo now centers around you. It goes out and in and it centers on you. The biggest talent in here that blew me away, and I didn't realize it was going to be so good, is Manifested Power. It's such a simple little talent, but I swear to God, it is the most important one on this entire tree. It is insane. Creating a Halo grants Surge of Insanity. That is, of course, the mechanic that turns Mind Flay or Mind Spike into Mind Flay Insanity, Mind Spike Insanity. They do way more damage, they give you way more insanity, and they allow you to keep pumping the Devouring Plagues, which will actually get you another Surge of Insanity as well. So, when you press Halo, every time it goes out, you get a Surge of Insanity. And then it'll come back in, then it goes out again, and you get another Surge of Insanity. Over the course of the entire, like, 15 seconds that your Halo is going out and coming back in, or 10 seconds, sorry, you'll end up getting 3 procs of Surge of Insanity. And then you're going to spend the Insanity on Devouring Plague, and then you're going to get another proc. So you'll end up getting, like, 4 to 5 procs of Surge of Insanity in that window. And that is an enormous amount of damage. Mind Flay Insanity is no joke. My big question to you guys who play Shadow Priest like full time, do you think with a setup that gets you Surge of Insanity procs like 3 or 4 times or 4 or 5 times every minute, is that going to be better for Mind Flay or Mind Spike? I would love to hear what you guys think. I used Mind Flay in the footage here, but you could just as easily, I think, swap into Mind Spike and do it that way. I'm not really sure which one's better, but this is the tree that I kind of settled on. I did do a Dark Ascension build because Halo is so much of my damage. And you can see here at the end of this dungeon, Halo ended up being my top damage. So we're buffing that with our Dark Ascension. You could probably do Void Eruption. I have no doubt in my mind you could do that as well. I just happen to run a DA build just for fun to get the upfront damage on Devouring Plague, to get the Halo damage. Shadowy Apparitions are benefiting from that. And then Psychic Link, of course, is benefiting from that as well. We still have a lot of dots. You know, the Devouring Plague, our dots. We've got our Void Torrent, and then Mind Flay Insanity ended up doing an enormous amount of damage because we were able to cast it so many times. You get so many Mind Flay Insanity procs that it's just crazy, right? Like, our Surge of Insanity procs are... I guess it's not going to show how many times it procs there. Maybe 84 times. I think it procced 84 times. I think that's what that's showing me there. I don't know why this doesn't say Surge of Insanity. Maybe I'm missing it, but I think this is it. We probably got it 84 times over the course of that entire dungeon, which is crazy. Let me just show you the dungeon footage. The rest of the tree is like pretty stock standard. I didn't do any Mindbender stuff. I went full blown into Void Torrent and then into Idol of Cthulhu because I was going to be channeling a lot of Mind Flays, so I was hoping to get some more of the little tentacles as well. We have Shadow Crash. I did not take Void Crash. I kind of like Shadow Crash, being able to aim it. Let me just show you kind of how this works. I did have my new sub goal up. I forgot to take it down before the recording, so you're just going to have to live with it. This is Arakara, the City of Echoes. This is a +2 Mythic plus dungeon that we did, so it's like a +12. Remember that? It's always that comparison that we're going to have. The damage that you're going to see coming in here is actually pretty substantial, and these dungeons are finally, like, the mobs are lasting, like, long enough that we can actually start getting Shadow Priest damage going, which is really nice. I get my Shadow Crash going here, and then I'm going to go into Halo. Here's my first Halo. So I'm going to get 1 charge of Mind Flay Insanity, and I'm going to spend it. And the channel time is really fast on it. And then Halo goes out again, and I get another charge, and then I get my own charge because I pressed Devouring Plague 3 times. Now I've done 3 Surge of Insanities in a second here. There's the 3rd one right there. Then Halo's going to go out again and give me a 4th one, and then I spend more Devouring Plague, so I got a 5th Surge. I got a 5th Surge of Insanity. So, like, you just keep getting them inside the Halo window, and it ends up being an enormous amount of damage, which I think is really, really cool. And I just didn't realize how powerful that effect was going to be, and it is really powerful. Like, it just absolutely slaps. I really enjoyed also having 30-second Void Torrent. Excuse me, 30-second Void Torrent was really good because it helped to smooth out some of the rotational problems. Not problems, but sometimes you get a bit of a dip. Like, the way that this build works is that you get a 1-minute Halo cooldown, right? Voidweaver has a 30-second Void Torrent, and all their damage is wrapped up in that 30-second Void Torrent. So you're kind of like doing this, then you go like bing, and then you go down, then you go bing, and it's like every 30 seconds. With the Halo build, it's kind of like you're not doing much, and then you go boom with Halo, and then you come back down, and then you might actually go down a little bit in damage, then you kind of have to recover, and then a minute later you go boom again. It's like a bigger peak and a bigger valley, and I think having a 30-second Void Torrent actually, like, helps to even out those moments when you don't have Halo. Does that make sense? It helps to give you some extra damage there. Okay, here we're kind of dancing around a little bit, but I'm getting those Surge of Insanity procs again. Lots of Surge of Insanity procs. It's pretty crazy. I'm gonna get a full Insanity in here before I have to move. I actually just committed to the fight there, so there you go. That was on that was basically a single target. I think, like, again, comparing our damage to other specs right now isn't always the best thing to do. I'm not just saying that to be like, oh, every time I play a spec, it's really good. The mage was beating us on that fight fair and square. That's fine. But, like, the way Living Bomb is working right now with mage is, like, completely bugged. And it's definitely not doing... It's doing more damage than I think it should be doing. Just keep that kind of stuff on. What we really want to do is just compare ourselves to some of the past dungeons that we've done and the amount of damage that we've been able to do in those dungeons, right? So I'm looking at these numbers, and I'm telling you, as somebody who's done 25 Mythic plus dungeons now already on the beta, these numbers are actually looking fine. They actually look good. And you'll be able... You should be happy with what you're seeing here. I think I dispersed. There goes my Halo. I'm dispersing right now just because we're dying. I don't really have a healer. And then here we go. Here comes the Mind Flay Insanities. Meow, meow. I just really like it. It has to be said as well, the extra healing that you get from the Halo contributes massively to sustaining your team and keeping them alive. Like, it produces a lot of healing over the course of the dungeon, and you're really going to notice it, I think. I mean, you can combine it with your Vampiric Embrace, which is really good. You actually just get Leech now for free on the tree. So Sanlan is not divided anymore. Sanlan is together. So you get 2% leech, and then you also get the Vampiric Embrace cooldown and healing. So you can combine those things together and produce actually quite a bit of healing out of these halos, which is really nice. So the only thing you're going to really have to think about, in my opinion, is making sure that when you cast Halo, you're ready to go, that you're ready to actually blast damage. If you're in the middle of like a raid fight, or if you're in the middle of a very difficult boss encounter that has sort of an intermission phase, you might want to be careful about like when you do this, because you don't want to press your 1 minute cooldown and then do nothing, or like have to stop doing damage for even 5-6 seconds. You're going to really ruin your cooldown there. So that's fine. That's very normal, I think, for Shadow Priest anyway. They're kind of used to that kind of gameplay. Again, here's a good pull where we did over 1 million damage. 1.15 million damage was really good there. But yeah, there's Halo, Mind Flay, Insanity, Devouring Plague. So it's not new to Shadow Priest to have to sort of think about your cooldowns and make sure that you're careful about sending them at the right time in the right moment. You are going to want to try and get a Devouring Plague on an enemy, of course, before you even cast Halo, because it'll do extra damage to that one enemy. But the point is, it just provides you with now a 30-second window with a Void Torrent, and then you have a 1 minute window. While you're waiting for Halo to get back, you've got that extra Void Torrent, and I really like that. Here's an example of where both abilities are coming back very soon. I had to move quite a bit here, so those instant cast Mind Blasts are really nice when you get the procs, which is really good. And then we took a lot of damage here. I popped Vampiric Embrace, and now I can heal people. You watch my healing will just shoot up here, which is awesome. It's really nice to be able to support the rest of the group. I'm doing more healing than the healer and the mage right now with Vampiric Embrace. I mean, it's just really strong. You can really combo these things together. Halo and Vamp Embrace, Halo and your Mind Flay Insanities, which are hitting really, really hard. Yeah. I love it. I really love it. We're going to skip ahead to a boss here. I mean, we're crushing this pack, or these little 2 packs of mobs. Obviously, you can just put like a Devouring Plague on each of them and then just do even more damage than you normally would. But we're just blasting, which is really good. Here's the boss fight. This is Avanox. Avanox? Yeah. So we get Lust and PI here, and the mage just starts blasting, and I start blasting. There's my Void Torrent. We really start going crazy. I will show you the damage at the end because we have an Augvoker in this group, so I don't want to like be blind to that. We do have an Augvoker, but the damage, I'll subtract some of it at the end for you, and we can see exactly how much we ended up doing by ourselves. But even without the Augvoker, I'm telling you, the damage from this is great. I mean, this is like single target damage. If we didn't have an Augvoker here right now, we'd be doing like, I don't know, 600k, 650k probably. Anyway, like besides the 800k that we're doing right now. I did have to move a little bit here, which is unfortunate. I messed up my Void Torrent timing there, but that's okay. We're back into it with the Mind Flay Insanities. Yeah, we'd be doing like 600k, 550k on a single target. That is really good single target damage. I'm telling you right now, it's with Bloodlust for sure, but it's just good damage. So we move forward here into the second half of the dungeon. Sort of we move into the city itself. And again, it just feels real good, man. This Halo keeps following you everywhere. The Surge of Insanity procs just really took me by surprise. I didn't realize how many I was going to end up getting. And it just contributes to so much of your damage. It's really cool that way. I love Mind Flay Insanity too. I don't know what it is about Mind Flay Insanity. I just love it more than Mind Spike. Like, I don't know how you guys feel about it. You guys who play Shadow Priest. I know everybody misses Mind Seer. I really miss Mind Seer, especially when before it became like a spender. It was fine as a spender, but I really just miss old Mind Seer. Mind Flay Insanity gave me that same feeling. When you press it, you know what's happening. You can see the laser beam. It feels really cool. And God, does it do a lot of damage. Like, it just slaps. So that's just a good feeling. And I kind of wish, I kind of hope that there's a build where you don't have to take Mind Spike and get the Mind Spike Insanity, because I think it's been Mind Spike for quite a while for Shadow Priest, which is kind of unfortunate. If you're wondering about Halo as well, it doesn't pull anything until you get into combat with it. Now that I've gotten to combat with these mobs, it will do damage to them, but all these other mobs that just got hit, they don't take any damage, which is nice. So that's that. Again, we're just pumping damage on every pack. And then on this pack, I don't even have Shadow Crash, and I don't have my Halo, but I'm just going to set up a couple dots here, and then I'm going to use my Void Torrent and my Mind Flay Insanities that I have to do tons of damage here. Get another one set up. There we go. Gonna do big void. See, this is what I mean about like you're not dipping too far down. You're able to kind of stay kind of competitive with some of the other guys, even though you don't have your major cooldown ready to go. That's kind of what I mean by this, and it feels quite good. Then we do this guy. Let's get to the next boss. We do this huge pack here. We actually almost die. It's a very messy pack. I end up catching up. I wasn't able to get damage going right away because I didn't have Void Torrent. And I also didn't have Halo. So here comes Halo with Dark Ascension, and now we're popping off. And we're going to catch up to everybody. We're doing 450 right now. But we're going to make our way up. I don't know what's going on with the Ogvoker. He's doing crazy amounts of damage right now. And I really haven't seen that before. But I guess sometimes they can do damage now. So we almost were able to catch up to everybody, but we just kind of weren't able to start too early on that fight. Here's the next boss fight. This is Anub Zaket. He is super fun. You basically just have to stay inside the circle that he creates once he creates it. And you need to dodge all the things that are inside the circle that are trying to hurt you. So it makes a very, very cramped space, and it feels cool. It's actually a really cool fight. I like it. Here it is right here. Oh, no, not yet. Sorry. He's doing his burrow. I don't know if he always burrows on the furthest ranged person, but he always seems to pick me when I'm playing ranged characters, like my Farseer Shaman. I also was healing, and I had like the same problem where he would charge me as well. Lots of Devouring Plagues here. Get one more Insanity up before I have to get in the circle. Okay, and then we've got 2 target cleave here. Just for a second. There we go. I put a whole Insanity in him. Then I'm doing Void Torrent. And then we're working our way back to Halo. Halo is 20 seconds away, 25 seconds away. So we're just working with what we got here. And again, you got to stay inside this circle. So the build that I'm running is not really ideal for this fight. You maybe you'd want Mind Spike Insanity, or just Mind Spike, sorry, so that you're not standing still channeling. But I still was able to make it work. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. You just have to make sure you're careful about your positioning and watch your feet and all that kind of stuff. Then you're outside the circle. You get a bit of a break. And then we get back into it here. I think I hold my Halo here because it's going to do more damage on the next AoE pack. So I did lose a little bit of damage here at the end, but that's okay. It's still good. It's still pretty competitive. Nothing wrong with that damage at all. We're going to continue forward here. This is the final area. And we end up pulling this guy. And we kill this Overseer. And then we end up pulling into this big guy. And then we end up pulling into the patrolling like bat dudes. And this becomes a real problem. These patrolling bat dudes don't seem to have an aggro table with one of their abilities. They just leap to like whoever they want to leap to, and we get absolutely decimated. I'm trying to heal with Halo, and I think I have Vampiric Embrace running. So look at my healing here in a second. We're doing a ton of healing to help out here. 200k. We're actually almost catching up to the healer here. Yeah, then I end up dying. So unfortunately, I'm going to lose a bunch of damage here, but that's okay. We end up wiping, I think, the whole thing. Oh, then by the way, if you do die in that section, do you get a shortcut, which is really nice. You can jump to this bat and he'll fly you to where you need to go, which is super nice. He flies you till after the Anub Zaket boss fight. Then you come back here again. What I didn't realize at first glance with this is that you can choose to go down the middle and do like a really difficult single target fight with some like priority damage. If you have DPS characters that can do that kind of priority damage to this big guy and his 2 little minions, then go for it. But if you want to just go and do a bunch of AoE damage on the sides, you can go do that as well. And you actually have a choice. And it depends on what you're going to do for your percent. Obviously, these little bat dudes are always patrolling, so this doesn't really matter as much. But you do get to choose which way you want to go at the end of this dungeon. And I think that's really cool. I think Blizzard has done a really good job with that, where depending on your composition, you can decide what you want to end up doing. That's just fantastic. I love having choices like that in dungeons. I think Blizzard has done a great job with this one in particular. We're pumping 1 million damage right now on this little pack of like 5 dudes. So that's what the Halo sort of peak can do for you. Again, I'm probably not even playing it perfectly, but this is something you can do. So we end up getting our guy, and then the tank's like, can we just go around them? And we're like, sure. And then we start pulling here, and these guys actually spawn additional dudes. So it's kind of like deceptive at first what's going on here. It doesn't look like there's a lot of guys, and then suddenly there's a lot of guys. So we kill them, then we do this next pack. It has this Overseer. He's a little bit tougher. I think he does the Black Blood. Or no, that's a different guy. He does the Venom Volley. Lots of kicks that you need to do in here, of course. Here comes our Halo window. I don't know. I think my Halo is hitting all those guys, right? Yeah. So it even works on stairs, so don't worry about vertical problems. It will still work. and we're pumping over 1 million. We're keeping up with the mage here. We actually passed the mage. Look at this, 1.73 million damage right now. We're just absolutely destroying with this build. So I promise you, if you're wondering about running Archon, you can run it and it will be pretty good for you. This is the double Psychic Scream that I have. I didn't mean for these guys to go so far, but I was trying to stop a kick, and then a second Psychic Scream actually goes off. So I really love that addition to this tree as well, having the double Psychic Scream. It just really fits well and gives you another layer of crowd control that Priest doesn't really have typically. So it's nice to have that. Yeah, I really enjoyed that a lot. Here comes a Void Torrent again once I get to move here. There we go. Big Void Torrent after our Mindflay Insanity. We'll finish off this ad. This Blood Overseer has a lot. So again, you're going to need priority damage to kill this guy too. But it is interesting that you have choices here in terms of how you want to approach the end of the dungeon. Then here's the last Overseer. He does do this black blood thing. I don't know what's going on there. He's throwing blood into the wall. Not really sure why. But this dungeon has a fantastic aesthetic. If you haven't seen already, I mean... honestly, this place just looks amazing. Really enjoy this. Compared to the other Nerubian dungeon, which I actually hate, this one's actually pretty good. It's quite tolerable. Once again, our Ogvoker friend is just pumping damage. I don't know what is wrong with him. I'm trying to just keep up with my Ogvoker. There we go. We kind of ramp up into the very end of the fight, and we get some damage going at the end here, which is nice. We're staying competitive with these guys, even though we didn't have Halo for that entire little mini fight there. So now we make our way to the final boss on this big platform overlooking this like friggin' brain looking thing in the back. I don't know what's going on. It looks cool though. Here we go. This is Ki Katal, the Harvester. Pretty cool boss fight. This chick basically does these webs, and then she's gonna spawn these little minions, and these minions are gonna put these little puddles on the ground. You can see right here. These puddles become important later on when she does her big suck move. She's gonna do a giant, like, long channeled suck ability. I know you guys can meme about it in the comments. And it's gonna try to pull you into the middle and do a lot of damage. If you're standing in one of these puddles, you get rooted. So you don't end up taking... Right here, I get rooted mid-channel on Void Torrent. Right there. I get rooted and the puddle goes away. And now the blob is onto me. He's, like, attacking me. Which is okay, because at the very end here, he gets... yoinked over here, and I think that was the Blood Decay actually who did that for me. That was amazing. But I could have just you can use any crowd control that you want to break the root of these slimes. So thankfully the tank was an absolute giga chat and he pulled it for me, but I could have used my fear. You know, you can use a cap totem, you can use paralysis, you can use anything. You can use an AoE stun, so you can get rid of them that way. But you want to like get the mobs to create these puddles, and then you want to make sure you're standing in a good puddle so that you don't get pulled into the middle like that. I think that's ideally what you want to do for this fight. Okay, we keep going. This is the end of the fight here. We get a couple more procs, and we do another Halo just for fun, try to pad some damage if we can, and that is the end of that fight. We end up having to pull one more trash pack to get the percent. We'll just see that right here. Got one more trash pack here, and then boom, we got the percent and we completed it. We actually +2'd it. This key was quite easy compared to some of the other keys. I like it a lot. Our damage overall looks like this, right? Halo, Devouring Plague, Psychic Link, Mindflay, Insanity. That's what this ends up looking like. And again, you know, I think that I was able to cast Halo 17 times in that dungeon. The dungeon was probably 17 minutes long. I can't really judge actually by how none of these things were like very long. So probably 17-18 minutes on the actual dungeon timer. So you get a lot of value out of Halo, and it does a lot of damage. And I just think that this hero talent tree was really deceptive to me in terms of how much damage it was able to do, but also these procs that you're getting on the Surge of Insanity. Like, this makes your build feel so smooth. You just get these proc after proc after proc, and it generates so much insanity for you. You're able to press a bunch of Devouring Plagues. You get a bunch of your own procs on Surge of Insanity. They can keep stacking up, and it just is a great little system. It works really, really well together, and I really enjoyed playing this. So if you're curious about the other side of Shadow Priest, it's actually good. I think it's good. You just have to get used to the cooldown management and like when to press it, but otherwise it's really good. I think it's potentially just as good as Voidweaver, maybe a little bit behind, but it's way better than I thought it was going to be. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you down there, especially you guys who play Shadow Priest and you're wondering about Archon. Please let me know. Love to hear from you down there. Thank you so much again for watching. Love you all. I will see you in the next one.